I have always loved being outside and loved growing things, whether it just be watching the garden come to life in the spring or watching a little inchworm or a bumblebee getting pollen or a hummingbird or the intricacy of a spider web. It is, you know, it's all creation. And so how can I be a part of that and make it better?
Scripture in Genesis where it talks about taking care of the earth. And it just really struck me of like, oh, that's stewardship. It's like, I'm blessed to bless, right? And so that was really significant for me.
In this episode, Phil and Donna Gosh take us into the guts of compost and their pursuit to live in a world where composting is part of our daily lives. They are composters, community leaders, composting first business veterans, and champions of the earth. But most of all, Phil is known to Austin, Texas as the Manure Entrepreneur.
I grew up in a small town. My grandmother lived not far away in a rural area. And she was a widow, but had like a huge garden and raised cattle and loved to cook. And so I would spend most of my Saturdays there. And a thing that was really significant that I didn't really comprehend then, but later did, Granny always had a 1-pound coffee can by her kitchen sink, and in it would go the coffee grounds and the eggshells and the potato peelings or carrot peelings. And then she would pitch it over the fence for the cows or turn it out into her garden right outside the door. Fast forward and I meet the Manure Entrepreneur and I know, oh, that was composting that Granny did. Life came full circle, if you will.
We had a lawn and garden business as the family, and so about 10, my father said, oh, you're 10, it's time for you to have your own business. I go, okay, sure, Dad. We started packaging materials for pot and soil and things like that for the nursery. And then I did worms on the side, even before that, a little worm bin. And it was so fun because you'd put the stuff out and my tomatoes were just fantastic. And I go, there's something to this. I liked working with my hands and I saw the value of compost and there was a demand for good quality stuff at a reasonable price. So I started talking to some chain stores and they go, hey, will you do this? And I said, yeah, but everybody, of course, thought I was crazy. What do you do in food, you know? People would do some manure and stuff, but the idea of doing food. And then we were talking to large grocery chains and, you know, helping people, and it was just really, it was going like on a real growth curve. And so we turned our little yard trimming compost facility into a full-fledged, you know, food waste, you know, recycling, which we didn't really know much about. There weren't a whole lot of people doing anything in that way. So I kind of sold it and then built the business is how I did it.
And if it wasn't crazy enough, Phil added in a few thousand chickens to feed on the compost and sell eggs at the farmer's market.
Yeah, some people say I'm full of it, so.
Composting is a natural process of recycling, decommissioning organic materials into nutrient-rich soil. This process improves the structure and health of soil, increases soil's water retention, and reduces the need for pesticides and fertilizers.
Now, if you think of the soil as the skin of the earth, just like the skin on our hand, if we hurt it or burn it or something, we put an ointment on it to heal it. It's the same with the soil. I mean, we damage it by walking on it, overusing it, putting chemicals on it. And so when you put that compost back on, it's like that ointment on that skin of the earth. It heals it back. Compost reduces your irrigation needs, your watering, so you save money on your water bill. Can actually pull carbon from the air and affix it back to the soil. It heals the soil. You can take any crappy soil and put compost in it, and you'll be able to grow amazing things. I mean, it's just amazing what it does.
Humus is where the biology lives, and that's how you can go out in the forest and just experience everything grows without, you know, all the fertilizer and irrigation systems and everything. Just, it's a great model that was created, and it works really good. But I think overall, if it just by feeding these biology, it's just amazing. They take the food and create humus. It feeds the biology, and then the biology are feeding us with healthy plants. It's super easy to grow stuff here. And it's like you just put seeds down and it grows. And then at the same time, you know, the The biology's taking the carbon and the bad stuff, and it's putting it in the ground where it's needed for these beautiful oak trees. If everybody was doing it, then the carbon problem in the ozone, according to research, it wouldn't be an issue because all that would be pulling it out of the air and putting it back in the soil. And if everybody was doing kind of that, you would see there'd be a lot more happier birds, there'd be a lot more happier people, really. I mean, healthier children. And in this day and age, with our concerns with water, okay, one is quantity of water and the other one's the quality of it. And compost actually affects both of those hugely, because the electric conductivity in compost draws the water down as opposed to run off.
They've done several studies, different places across the globe, where the soil quality has been horrid and there's been erosion and nothing will grow. And they go in and they put compost, and all of a sudden the native plants start growing again. The soil health starts building back up. So environment would be completely different. It would be a game changer.
In 2013, the city of Austin began their curbside composting program, with a few communities in the city now serving over 200,000 homes. The city collects food scraps, yard trimmings, and other compostable materials, diverting them from the landfill and using them to make nutrient-rich compost.
The city of Austin had what they called stakeholder meetings, which the restaurant associations would go to, and Phil was a significant part of that. At that point, we weren't doing wasted food from the city of Austin. That was before the pilot began. And then I got involved in the Zero Waste Council, which was a national organization at the time, and Keep Austin Beautiful. And then the city of Austin passed a zero waste goal or ordinance, if you will. And zero waste didn't mean no waste. It just meant less going into the landfill. They began an impact where if a restaurant was a certain number of square footage, or you had a food area, even a cafe at a place, then you had to compost your organic waste. And then they would phase that in. So they would start 25,000 square feet till over a number of years it went down to any food permitted place. And then about the same time, they decided to do a pilot of 14,000 homes with a bin at the curb. And so to see, would it work? Is it even possible? Very quickly, within 5 to 6 years, it's the whole city. It was a little overwhelming, but amazing. And the education component was just, real passion for me. And that was the biggest hurdle, was educating people what could go in that bin.
I'm real big on the why, though. Really understanding the appreciation, and hey, it's up to us to care for it and make it better for somebody else down the road. Sometimes people overcomplicate things. If I really thought about it, I probably never would have did my business because it's so complicated. But you just, hey, you got the why, it's important. We're gonna just, take a step and try some different things and learn from it. If you really appreciate nature, and you'll want to do things to care for it. I would say just around the dinner table, ask your children what they're thankful for, and mention, the trees, the birds, the environment, the sunrise, and create that appreciation.
It all starts with being grateful for what we've been given and stewarding it well. And you think, oh, well, I can only do this. Well, do the one little thing. If everybody did one little thing, if everybody picked up one little piece of trash, if everybody recycled one bottle or composted one eggshell, it adds up. Little by little, it adds up.
You want to see some worms?
Chickens and worms.